Hello, all. Welcome to the Roll20 Indie Showcase of For the Queen. Thank you so much, Roll20, for hosting us on your channel. Hey, everybody in chat. Thanks for coming to play with us. We are. Let's introduce ourselves. I'm Sean Nittner. I use he/him pronouns, and I normally found at Sean Nittner on Twitter, pretty much everywhere, or I stream on twitch.tv/actualplay. How about, let's see. I remember the order of things. I think it's Banana next. How are
Oh no. Wait, is it? Is
maybe
it
No, it's
I
me.
no, I
Oh, that
Kira.
was
don't.
Kira.
Yes, it's Kira
I'm on
next.
it.
Hey, Kira.
Hi.
How about you?
Hi. Hi, Sean. Thanks for introducing me.
I was really good at that.
Yeah, it's great. I'm Kira McGran. I am a queer cyborg game designer living in Columbus, Ohio. And the best place to follow all the stuff I'm doing is at Kira Nanzi on Twitter. My pronouns are she, they. And I believe Gion is next.
Hey, thanks for introducing me, Kira. My name is Jian Shim. I am a wilderness survival teacher that uses LARP to teach land connection and nature connection and a deeper understanding of the natural world. I am very active on Twitter. It's Jian Shim, which is spelled JeeyonShim, and we'll throw that up later at some point. And I'll pass the mic off to Banana.
Yay, thanks for introducing me. So I'm Banana Chan, she, her, they, them, and I write weird role-playing games and LARPs. And you can find me on Twitter. I'm always there, banana_chan_vid. And I also make videos for other board game designers and role-playing game designers. So I'm going to pass this off over to Alex.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alex Roberts. I'm a writer and game designer, and I can usually I use she, her. I can be found at Muscular Pikachu on Twitter and Instagram and places like that. You can also go to helloalexroberts.com if you want to know about things like Starcross, two-player game Forbidden Love, or a game called For the Queen that we're going to be playing tonight.
Yeah, Alex, you want to tell us a little about For the Queen, like how it came to be?
Yeah. For the Queen has kind of a funny origin story because I was really mad one night and I was like, well, I need to sleep. I can't just like be mad. So I played a little game called Final Fantasy Theater Rhythm on my DS for like an hour or two until I fell asleep. And when I woke up in the morning, I woke up the next morning before my alarm and basically just wrote this game immediately. The original version had like a bunch of other stuff that's not in the final, but a lot of the core elements are still there, just the idea and the basic story and the cards. So yeah, first I play tested it like 2 days later, and something that I got really excited about was that two friends of mine who are super creative and brilliant, but are often really nervous when they play role playing games. Like they're both just kind of a little bit anxious and they're not like really kind of confident in what they bring to the table. They specifically really, really liked it, and it really kind of brought them out of their shell and helped them contribute. So I started testing it with more and more people who were less and less familiar with role playing games until I was playing it with like my dad and like people who didn't even know what a role playing game was. And people really seem to enjoy it, and like it's popular at conventions too, and with people who've been role playing all their lives. But it's more important to me that the other thing happens. So yeah, this is a game about love, honor, and duty, and sometimes betrayal.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's play.
Yeah, it's the only game it's the only role playing game I've ever played with my mom, and it's something I'd wanted to do forever, and so yeah, I testify to that. Today is also a special day because the reason why we're here on this particular day is that For the Queen has just gone live in two different places. You can get it on the Roll20 marketplace right there. Just put the link in chat. We're going to be playing in Roll20, and the module is available for you to get right now. And if you want the physical copy of the game, the actual cards and the box and all the beautiful queens, you can pre-order that as of today. And I just put the link for that too. So yeah, I'll spam those in chat every so often, but it's cool that now you can get it, and the physical copy will be coming out in June. So if you happen to be coming to Origins, we'll have it there. All right, let's do the other thing where we go over to Roll20. And is everybody's head in the right place? Yes, I think we are. Thank goodness. I accidentally had Kira and Gian swapped earlier, but we're all fixed now.
Well, Kira's really great. I would swap. I would Freaky Friday Kira any day.
That's exactly what I wrote in chat.
Oh, body swap friends.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're all pretty darn wonderful.
You should all get one of those like BFF necklaces. That's like the heart that you break, except it's just a body, and you like break it into different. Anyway, that sounded really lovely. Said it, and then I said it.
Yeah, exactly. Sounds aggressive. Philippe Warehouse, I will try and raise up my mic. It's funny. I never use the mic from here, so I'm not used to dealing with my own volume. But we'll get that sorted out if I can. Just bring it closer for now. So the way we play for the Queen on Roll20 is we're going to start by reading the instructions, and if everyone kind of in Roll20 hovers over the instruction deck in the lower right hand corner, and instead of clicking draw or anything like that, you'll just mouse over it and you'll just select choose, and then a little window, the instruction cards will pop up, and if you just click on a card, it'll go full screen. And so we'll go in the same order: me, Kira, Gian, Banana, Alex, and if you just click on it once, it'll go to full screen, and then you can read it, and then we'll go around the table. So I'm going to read the first instruction, which is go around the table clockwise, taking turns reading these cards aloud.
I'm next. I just realized that. The land you live in has been at war for as long as any of you have been alive.
The Queen has decided to undertake a long and perilous journey to broker an alliance with a distant power.
I'm having issues. I'm sorry.
No, it's no problem.
No.
I think we also got out of order. Sorry. It should go me, Kira, Gian, Banana,
Oh,
Alex.
sorry.
No, it's fine. So, Kira, why don't you do the next one? And we'll just kind of...
We're going up, not
yes.
down? Why would we go down? Okay.
I mean, why would we go... no reason at all, except for just that's the order I had.
We're on 4, right?
We're on 4, yeah.
Okay. The Queen has chosen all of you and no one else to be her retinue and accompany her on this journey.
Awesome. Gian, will you do 5?
Yes. She chose you because she knows that you love her.
You are welcome to look through the Queen cards for inspiration. If there is one that seems right for the group, place it on the table to inspire your story.
And we'll do that after we get through the instructions. We have a cool Queen deck.
Cool.
Alex, can you read 7 for us?
Okay, hold on. Set the card that reads, "The Queen is under attack. Do you defend her?" aside.
Shuffle the red prompt cards and place them face down in the center of the table. That is done sort of by the magic of Roll20 to shuffle the cards.
That's me again, right?
Yes.
Okay. Put the Queen is under attack card in the middle of the deck for a game that takes approximately 30 minutes, or shuffle it into the bottom third of the deck to play for an hour or more.
That's what we'll do.
When you have read the instruction cards, continue clockwise with the red prompt cards. Take turns reading the questions out loud. Interpret these questions and answer them however you wish.
Other players may ask you questions or make suggestions on your turn, but whether you answer those questions or include those suggestions is entirely up to you.
Place the X card somewhere everyone can easily reach it.
We have a lovely X card here on the mat. since online you can't always use, and it's not you can click on the Roll20 X card, but we can also use other conventions like just making an X or putting our hand up if there's any content that we need to X. If you encounter a card or an answer that you don't want to be included in the game, tap the X card. That content is removed from the game.
If you draw a card that is removed this way, simply draw another card. You can X a card that you drew yourself.
Sorry, it froze. There we go. Ooh, there we go. You can also pass on your turn. To do so, give the prompt card you drew to the next player and say, I'd like to hear your answer to this question.
A prompt card can be passed around the table until someone applies the X card to it.
Continue answering, passing, and Xing questions until the queen is under attack card is drawn.
Each player should answer that question in turn. Then the game is over.
Whoever wants to can draw the first prompt card.
Nice. All right. Do we have any preferences about queens? I realized I was thinking I would ask this before we started, but we have several gorgeous we have 14 gorgeous bits of art that we've made from a whole lot of different artists. If you mouse over, you should be able to click choose, and you can sort of see the various the queens. But if there's anyone we want, or we can eschew that and not use an art. I'd kind of like to use one just so we can show off the art because it's really pretty.
Yeah.
I'm down with that.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, feel free to draw that.
Ooh. I see Ken Davidson's in the chat.
Oh, yeah.
Hello, Ken Davidson.
We have a
You gotta
nemesis.
keep your cool. You gotta keep your cool, Banana.
Trying really hard.
All rivalries off.
Yeah.
Only in-game rivalries.
Hey, Ash.
Oh,
no,
I
we're not too
seen
late.
some of these.
Yeah, there's some new queens. That's the
Yeah, I
springtime.
played this a lot, so it's cool to see something new.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I like the one with the lizard.
Oh,
We
yeah.
think she's the lizard queen.
That's very
Yes.
Yeah.
She's the springtime queen. Let's do that. I love it.
Springtime
Yay.
queen.
Amazing.
Wonderful.
That's
okay.
very cool.
Groovy. All right. Now I realize that I needed to do a thing in the background. So for anybody playing this on Roll20, one of the features is that you can shuffle, like to get the end game card in a particular place. You sort of shuffle it until the card is in approximately the right spot. So I'm going to do that in the background real quick. I'm going to shuffle until I feel like, okay, it's good. There we go. Just doing a little bit of magic behind the scenes and hide the queens, and there's your pawn card. So the way that we'll draw the card is if you just sort of mouse over the deck, you'll see a card like pop up behind, it'll sort of like slide up behind the other one. And if you just drag that and drop it onto the prompts spot, then it'll show up. And when you're done with it, you can just delete the card and it'll go, or leave it. We can cover it. It doesn't matter. Yeah. And
Sorry, I'm a little slow on the draw right now. So if you drag the little prompt card onto the big prompt
yeah,
rectangle,
it'll fill it up. Exactly.
lit.
Yeah.
All right.
Would anyone like to draw the first prompt?
I always say it can't be me.
That's fair.
I was gonna say it should be you. So.
Yeah, I think in this one special game for the queen, we could ask Alex to draw the first card.
This is a secret hidden rule. You won't find it in the rule cards, but the designer can't draw the first card.
All right, I'm breaking the tension. Here we go.
Okay.
This is hilarious because I drew this card. I drew the first card last time, and it was this card. In fact, I'm gonna just to be on the safe side, I'm gonna shuffle this deck in case. In doing that, I inadvertently put the I'm gonna keep shuffling until the Queen is under attack card is sort of lower down. There we go. Okay.
Cool.
Just want to make sure we don't have the exact same order of cards. Let's do it last time. All right, this is uncanny, but I believe it. What brings out the Queen's kindness? I mean,
we'll know like 3 cards in.
It's clearly faded. Yeah, it's fine. Even if we got the same order, it wouldn't matter.
It seems very fitting for this queen. I'm into it.
Yeah. Well, I think the artist named this the Springtime Queen, or the art director who commissioned this art named this queen the Springtime Queen. So I'm going to go with an easy answer, which is the spring. The queen, much like the land around her, is sort of comes alive during the spring. It's when she and she sort of visits her subjects and bestows little tokens and gifts upon them, and it's just the time of the year where she's the most engaged with everyone, and it's because of this that it's kind of a little bittersweet for everyone that we are going on this journey during spring, because normally she would be at home and she would be this would be the time when she was with the people, but instead she's just with us because we started the first day of spring on this journey. So she's in a good mood right now because she loves this time of year. Kira, I think you're the next in the order.
Oh, okay. I forgot we went in order. Here we go. What do you do that pleases the queen on this journey? Well, she does seem very fond of the spring, which we know. So, every time I see something beautiful and spring-like nearby, it's springtime, right? You just said?
Yeah.
I'll make sure to point it out to her so that she doesn't feel like she's missing spring quite so much. And so I'll point out like the budding blossoms on the cherry trees and the new tulips that are just pushing out from underground, and the little tiny salamanders that are sunning on rocks by the water as we pass.
Are you like a botanist or a zoologist, or are these just things that do you know about these things as part of your profession? Like, oh, look, this is this special plant that people wouldn't know about, or is this just your sort of observations that you catch these things?
Oh, I think I don't think I'm a botanist. I'm an artist. I can see beauty wherever it is.
It's very beautiful.
Nice.
I love that the queen brought an artist with her on the journey.
Well, it's very important to document all of the beauty that will happen. Or do we pass along, or do we ask more? I didn't realize we could ask each other questions.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
yes.
You can ask follow-up questions.
You can ask follow-up questions, yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
But you can also decline to answer them or be like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Nice.
People can make suggestions, and you can also decline those. But yeah, so the next card would go to Gian. And if you ever run into trouble drawing it, I can draw it for you as well.
Try to draw it, and that might be good if you drew it, because it's not working.
Yeah, it went into your hand.
Oh, weird.
Instead of
Yeah.
onto the mat.
Let me try one more time.
It's fine. I grabbed it.
Okay, cool. I see you grabbing it. What promise did the queen make to you before this journey? Do you think she'll keep it? All right, this is very specific. I think that wherever it is I come from, have a store of seeds. I think that a lot of people from the culture and the court that we come from have like family heirloom seeds that are passed down to honor the springtime, to honor fertility. But for whatever reason, the queen is holding mine, and it's almost like she's holding my bloodline like hostage. And as soon as the journey has met its end, I'm going to get them back. And I think that she's held them for a long time, and finally she's promising conditionally to give them back to me once it's done.
I have so many questions, but I don't. So, like, is this like your family's, like, like your crop, like your like the are these seeds like only available? Like, do they exist nowhere else except for it now in her
Yeah,
presence?
yeah. I don't see it as like an agricultural thing. I think these are seeds to plants that like have like a sacred, almost holy meaning. Like they contain your bloodline. They contain like all of the family meaning that's passed down and like resulted in you. So it's the seeds of who you are as well as being like actual living, breathing things in their own right. Um, yeah, I don't know if like I can put into words their significance or importance in that context, right? Because they're who you are.
Wow.
Can I ask a game question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we develop the setting as we go?
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
That was really beautiful, Gian.
Yes.
Oh,
That was
you.
really
Thanks.
Feel real tender.
I'll
right
pass
now.
it to you. I know. I'll pass it to Banana now.
I don't know how to follow that up. So awesome. I'm gonna try and not mess this up. There we go. Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah, you pulled the little card.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh.
When was the last time the queen hurt you? Oh my gosh. Okay. I think that the queen and I used to be best friends. So we were very close together. And we had a bit of a conflict because I wanted her to give back the seeds to Gion's character. Do we establish names? No, not yet, right?
We haven't, and we don't. We can, but we certainly don't need to.
Okay. And then I found out that she's also keeping several other heirlooms hostage from people. And that's why we don't talk much, but I'm still on this trip.
Are they the same kind of heirlooms? Are they also seeds, or are they?
They're very different. So some are seeds, some are everything that's like that's sacred to them. So some maybe like bulbs, like trees, like little plants, anything that's like spring-like.
Yeah, like little cuttings or like
anything that grows.
Yeah.
Does she have something of all of us?
She might have like something from each of us, but it's something that we've given away, like to her, like consensually. Like this is like a gift to her. But she also keeps like other people's things.
Wow.
Why did that upset you? Because I don't know if this is, maybe it's a secret. I'm not sure that she does this, but why did you in particular find that upsetting?
Maybe because I thought that she would tell me everything, and this is something that that I had to find out for myself.
Oh, yeah.
So it is secret then. This isn't something.
It was like one of her big secrets, and I just found out. I stumbled across like her hoard of seeds.
Wow.
Nice.
Her collection. Dice Up Games has already named her the Hoarder Queen. I don't know if that's a sentiment I have, but yeah, the collector.
She's me in real life right now in winter, collecting all my seeds to plant for spring.
I'm imagining her having like a wing in her palace that's like the seed library at Svalbard. Do you know what I'm talking about? In Svalbard in Iceland, there's literally a seed library that has every single collected seed so far in the world. The idea being that it's like the world's heritage. And if something happens, there will always be these seeds and we can try to regrow. But one of the catastrophes of like the climate disaster happening all around us right now is that the ice is melting in Svalbard and like it's hard, like the library keeps flooding.
Oh
But I imagine her having like a secret wing in her like courtly palace that's like not spring-like. It's just this like temperature controlled somehow, maybe through magic, maybe through something. That's just her hoard
Maybe
of seeds, like a vault,
Maybe
like
she
a
knows
dragon.
maybe she knows the
Yeah.
world's ending or something.
Are any of the seeds magical?
Oh, probably. Like a lot of them are.
Like, do
Yeah.
they grow things besides plants? Like, do they grow creatures or like
Ooh,
magic?
like
Who knows? Yeah.
like little dragons.
Like the one she's holding.
Like the little
Yeah.
Yeah.
gives a whole new meaning of the word botanist now.
I love the whiplash from this like very furtive, like unsettling thing to like, oh, just like the little thing she's holding, that little guy.
That accent is melting. It's fine.
Well,
Oh, Svalbard's in Norway, my bad. Not Iceland. Thank you.
Oh, Norway. Yeah.
thanks, Ash. And
Alex?
as the frame for this, remember, is that like we've been at war as long as we've been alive. So all of these beautiful things are happening, but also our country is at war. We're on a dangerous journey with the queen.
I'm also hearing a lot of like she's keeping these seeds and she's kind of taking them from people, but I wonder, like, it doesn't seem to be just greed. Like there is kind of a good reason to want to gather these things and keep them in like a safe place.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's okay to take them, I don't know. But
It does seem like she's trying to preserve them. It does seem like she wants to hold on to them for some.
All right, I'm drawing a card. What makes the queen beautiful in your eyes? I think it's her optimism.
How so?
I think
How is that expressed, I guess?
well, she thinks that things will work. Like some of it is just self-confidence. She's like, I'm going to go to this neighboring country and we're going to make an alliance. And maybe a lot of other people at court were kind of skeptical about that. But she's like, nope, we're just going to do it. And I'm going to gather the people who I believe I can trust, and we're just going to go make it happen. And it can be something as grand as that, where the fate of nations hang in the balance. But it can also just be something as simple as like, a small animal or a tiny plant. She's the kind of person who, when you think that, this plant, you're like, this thing is just dead. I can't, it hasn't flowered for years. Nothing's gonna sort of bring it back. She would be the person that you would take it to because she not only can do it, but she believes in it. She believes in everything's ability to just grow and thrive.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I feel like, and tell me if I'm reading this wrong, but I feel like if we have magical plants, we also have people that sort of have a magical
I'll be right
touch.
back. Sorry.
No problem. Does the queen have the ability to restore plants that would otherwise be dying? Is it and is that through skill or through magic? If so,
I think that the distinction between the natural and the supernatural that we have is not really so clear in the universe of this world that we're building.
Does your character, Alex, love that in the queen, or think that makes the queen beautiful because your character is nothing like that, or do you have similar qualities?
Ooh,
like, is it an opposite like type of enamorment or whatever, or is it just like you really identify with those things and believe in them too?
I think I lose that really easily. Like, I try to be optimistic and I really value it, but I can give up too quickly. That's how I see myself. I give up too quickly.
Cool.
All right, back to you, Sean.
who is this distant power you're traveling to, and why did they make you uneasy? I mean, yeah, so this distant power is a place that has suffered tons of famine. They have significant difficulty. Their agriculture is failing, and that is put them on a very like sort of aggressive war path, and they have a desire for our bounty, and or agricultural bounty, and as sort of as Alex, as you said, like that the bounds of that are not what we necessarily would conventionally think of them. Like there's more that represents kind of the like the much more than just plants, but we've the part that makes me uneasy is that I think we all know the Queen carries these various rare and perhaps unique samples, and that's going to be what she can use as a bargaining chip in trying to broker this peace. She can show them it, but I think I don't have any good faith that I have a fear that they're going to just try and take them by force. That they're, or whether that be physical force or political force, but I think we're going in good faith, and I don't think that they will receive us. That's my experience of this enemy, is that they're too sort of far gone from like attempts at diplomacy.
Do
you
they?
have
Oh, sorry.
You first.
Do they have like seasons like our kingdom does, or are they? Because I'm sort of seeing this as like a very cold and wintry land.
Mm-hmm. I think they used to have seasons like we did, and they haven't in a very long time. I think it's been a cold and wintry land for a long time.
Nice.
Cool.
Like, as long as any of us have been alive. Alex, did you have a...
No, I'm good.
Cool.
That's perfect.
Do they not have magical seeds like ours? Do their seeds hold no magic?
Not anymore. I think they might have, and they died. I think it's possible that the Queen is maybe the only one that still has some of those seeds that have died off in their lands. I don't know. I'm not sure about that, though. I think neither my character nor me as John knows that for sure. But I think that sort of part of the reason why they are in this sort of Arctic cold state is because the plant, the seeds, their seeds have all died, or all, the magical ones have all died. I'm liking this fantastical world.
Is it my turn? I can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. You were summoned to a private meeting with the Queen once. Why did you feel disappointed afterwards? I don't know. So many options. So I think that as a well-known and beloved artist in our city or our kingdom, I assumed that the Queen was calling me for a private meeting to paint her portrait. To be the person that would put up the regal portrait of her that would last throughout the ages, and I would have that great honor. And she instead asked me to come on this mission. And I love my city. I would do anything regents for our grand monarch who sits above us all in her springtime regalia. But I don't like leaving town too much, and so this is uncomfortable. Like I'm nervous. I don't know how to. I'm not a fighter. What's going to happen with these people? I can't defend any of you or her.
Gian, what did you say? That was really
sorry. I should say, I have to say this every single time. My mic has like a 2 to 4 second lag, so sometimes I talk. My bad. What I said was, did she tell you it was going to be great exposure for your art?
Oh, deep cuts.
She didn't even say that. Actually, apparently this isn't a paid mission in any way. And we all might die. So
cool.
That's fine.
We're just doing this out of service to the Queen.
Yeah.
And because we love her, right? Did each of us get these private meetings, or were you the only one? Like, why did you get a private invite? Did you have to be like tricked into coming?
Oh, well, she has a special secret mission for me, which I'm not allowed to share with all of you.
Yeah, I mean.
Okay.
I don't know what it is yet.
We'll find
I'm
out.
sure it'll come up.
Find out what your special secret mission is.
Cool. Okay. Drag the. Let me drag you.
There you go.
Oh. Yeah. Okay. You think of someone in this retinue as the Queen's favorite. Who? What makes you think this? You know what? I think I'm the Queen's favorite. I think
it did just say someone. I mean,
that's someone. I usually answer this very differently, but I'm going to say that I am young and very like winning. And I think the Queen has straight up, in a moment that maybe I took more seriously than it was meant, she told me that I was her favorite. But in that way that maybe monarchs or people with great power over others will say it very fancifully. But to me, it like landed deep, deep in my heart. And it's now like a cornerstone of like who I am, and my identity is I'm the Queen's favorite. And I comport myself that way. And I think this was maybe said a year ago, a couple years ago, and it's made me no less charming, but definitely more arrogant and a little less willing to lean toward other people. I expect them to lean toward me. Yeah. I expect my light to bring their faces toward me instead of having to like be a normal human being in a court with other human beings. Yeah, I think it's gone to my head.
Do you let us all know? Do you tell us all I'm the Queen's favorite? She thinks I'm the best. Like, it's maybe not in that way.
No, I think it's one of those things that maybe comes out when I'm a little tipsy or when I'm feeling like especially good or something like that. I don't think that I'm as careful with it as if it were genuinely deeply true. I should be, because it just brings me, it's like a great source of joy and self-confidence for me. So I say it more often perhaps than I should.
Wow. Who here is the most jealous of you?
Oh, I don't know. I feel like it could be a
mean, can we raise hands? Like, should Gian pick this, or can I just say that I'm super jelly? Because
if you wanna claim that phantom like question card, then you totally should. Yeah.
I've been throwing petals behind the Queen for ages, and announcing her and being at her side and having what I thought would be the closest intimate relationship in terms of always being there, and never has she shown me that kind of favor ever.
Yeah.
And I've given my life to her.
Damn.
So, yeah.
Damn.
The jealousy is real. Also,
Very
my
good.
inability to get this click to draw, drag to deal box to go away is real on stream. So, sorry, y'all. I don't know why it won't go away. Hopefully, when the next card is drawn, it'll go away. Sorry, it's just like clobbering the... Yeah, Ash, you're probably right. Throwing petals behind the queen is a mistake, but it's what I've been told to do. It's what I've been raised to do.
Listen, I don't make the rules.
Everywhere she goes, petals will follow.
Oh, it's beautiful. Did I reset the
am I going?
accidentally? Whoops.
Am I going next?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. There is someone else in this retinue you love besides the queen. How and why are you keeping it a secret? Oof. I'm gonna say I love Kira's character. Because she sees the beauty in everything, and that's what it was like before when I had a relationship with the queen, but then I realized that what I was seeing in the queen was just an idea. It's just like a fantasy, and now it's just destroyed for me. And now I love Kira's character because, what we have is real. Or so I think.
Why is it a secret, though?
It's a secret because the queen can't know about this, because then she'll be all mad and jealous. So maybe I kind of want to tell her eventually.
Is there romantic love or friendship love? So,
I'll let you decide that.
Oh, either one is fine.
Let's say it's romantic love.
Cool. Wait, did we determine? I can't remember. You were the queen's friend, but you didn't say how you knew her.
Oh, let's say we're childhood friends. We went to like fencing academy together.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of like all the royal things that royal people do. Is something.
And which one of
It's a
them is
real,
most
like,
dramatic?
lesbian anime vibe there.
Yeah.
Sorry, we both just say the same thing, basically, about lesbian anime.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Good. Very glad.
Yes.
JV Garrison said, I would be so bad at this. I would never say anything except for I love that she had Krispy Kreme donuts and gives them to me wherever I ask. And chat is responding, and I just want to respond as well. That is a totally legit queen. The queen who gives you donuts is the donut queen. Is a winning queen as well. That's not this queen, but like, yes, that could definitely be your queen. So.
Yeah. The last time we played this, she was the prom queen.
Yeah. And
it was like 4 of us on the way to the prom with her in the limo, and we like weren't sure which one of us was her actual prom date. Very loaded.
That's the Monster Hearts crossover.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's exactly what it was. Yeah.
I think that do I have to ask a question or can I say something? Do I have to ask a banana a question or can I say?
Yeah, no, you can make suggestions. I mean, they should be related to banana and to this card. It's like they should be building off of this, but like, yeah, no, throw out.
My character, Tristan, a girl, is mad that you want to keep it a secret and is constantly trying to get it out.
Oh, that's good. I like to think that my character, who I can't think of a name for yet, She's just like trying really hard to pretend like it's a secret, but like also like be outwardly flirty and annoying.
Do we all know? Like the queen doesn't know, but does everyone? Is it obvious to everyone else, or do you keep it well hidden from all of
I
us?
feel like it's pretty obvious.
It seems like it.
This all sounds like when middle schoolers get like crushes on each other and they're like trying to
Nobody will find out.
yeah.
Yeah. Are you passing notes?
Oh,
That's
absolutely.
Passing seeds, leaves.
I've painted little tiny portraits in like small canvas hearts that I've put into lockets and bullshit like that.
That's serious.
Oh.
I mean, bullshit is not the word I would use. I would use awe with like 13 W's. That's
Oh, cool.
There's a toque at a local museum that's painted on feathers. And I imagine you painting little portraits on feathers that like you only see, like you have to tilt the little follicles up. So you only see them when you like kind of ruffle the edge of the feathers. You know what I mean?
Yes,
nature
that
of all
happens.
Little tiny hidden like love portraits that you can pass, but you can still wear like in your hair, on your person.
I love it. There's actually a historical practice of painting your lover's eye, getting your so it's a secret. And you don't know who the eye belongs to, except for the people who have the eye.
But you know,
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yes, I love this.
I know a lot about jewelry and art.
This is great.
That's so good.
Oh, lovely.
Very good. Let's see. It was Banana's turn. Is that right?
I think
so it's
Alex's.
Alex.
Yeah.
The queen is responsible for the death of someone you loved.
Oof.
Who and what happened? Ooh. I feel like this is the first like very dark card that we've gotten.
Yeah, she's been pretty great thus far.
Yeah.
Monarch. Great. Sorry. I said monarchy's never great.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Viva la revolution.
Let's see. I think that my lover came down with a terrible sickness. And I asked the queen, when it was in its very, very early stages, I asked the queen if she knew any medicines that could help. And it was her decision that this particular sickness was so contagious and so deadly that this person could not, like, would have to go into serious quarantine. And no, more than quarantine, that they would be exiled.
Yeah.
And so she sent him into the desert, and where he presumably died of exposure, because he was already brutally sick and nothing can live out there.
Is the desert she sent him to the same barren land that we're going to now?
Of course it is.
Oh,
Of course it is. Yes.
That's really good.
But you haven't. Oh, I guess you have answered the whole question, because I guess we know what happened. He's or they're gone.
His yeah, he was eaten by the buzzards.
I'm just reflecting too, like deserts are very fertile, but I'm just reflecting on like in this land where everything's so verdant and like lush, what the desert means, like symbolically as well.
Mm-hmm.
Everything felt heavier when you said it. It was really good.
I think it's me. We're about. We can do one more round. We're about ready for a break, but we're not quite there. So.
Did Jan get a second turn?
I did.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No worries.
No.
When was last time the queen showed real kindness? I think think my first, yeah. When was the last time the Queen showed real kindness? From my perspective, it's bringing us all here to be with her. I think that she was told to go on this journey was very dangerous, and that she should bring a retinue of many more. And she... My personal theory is that, well, what she said publicly was that a smaller retinue will be less threatening and will have a better chance to sue for peace. But I think it's that she wanted each of us, like, she's holding on to something special of each of us, and I think that she can't just give those to us in the presence of the court, and she can't give us this sort of one-on-one or close to one-on-one, this alone time in the presence of the court. And I feel like she wanted to spend time with us. And to me, jealous as I am of anyone who's close to her, having 1/5 of her attention is so much better than like 1/5000th of her attention. So yeah, I think allowing us to be the only ones on this was a real kindness, and it was kind of a brutal move for everybody else. But I don't care, because she was nice to us, so that makes me happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, taking us on this trip.
It's really good.
Yeah. Kira, you're next up.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were breaking.
No, I think we can do one more round.
Okay, cool.
I was the start, so.
I will do it. When did you know you were in love with the Queen?
Oh, no.
Well, this is complicated.
You can pass a card if you're like, oh, I think you'd like to hear someone else's answer. That is an option. But I would love to hear your answer, too.
Well, I don't know. It does seem, Sean, like your character was built to be in love with the Queen.
Yeah.
So the way that the passing mechanics works is that we pass along the turn order. Mm-hmm. So you would pass it to Gion. And theoretically, Gion could just like keep passing and it could eventually make its way to Sean, but we pass to our like clockwise side.
Got it.
Cool. I think I'm not in love with the Queen.
I was like X the card if you're just like not.
I'm gonna pass that to Gion. Okay. If you would like to take it, Gion.
Sure. Gosh. Man, how... I'm just going to go for it. I think that there is like a ritual of fecundity, like just that exaggerated, incredibly all like borderline obscene fertility, where it's just flower, like a riot of flowers and all of that happening everywhere. And part of that celebration happens in the court with like a huge, chaotic, almost structureless ritual that the Queen oversees. And within that ritual, there is a lot of like physical affection and exchange of physical affection and lovemaking. And I think the idea is that you are not particular. You are not attached. It's everyone you know and everyone you don't know. But there's a moment where the Queen reached for me, and it was that that desire to be the only one reached for, that desire to have like a quiet moment alone, that I realized that I was in trouble, because that's not within that ritual. It's not in the emotional or spiritual scope of the court or that time or my role to the Queen. And so as much as I might preen about the idea of being her favorite, that I keep very, very close. I don't really tell anybody that I feel that way. because it feels almost unholy. It feels like sacrilegious.
Does
Yeah.
she share? Do you think she shares that feeling? Like,
I don't think I've ever asked. I don't think I've ever let that like see the light of day. I think it was like one of those flashing moments of like deep truth and revelation that you then just like bury as deep as you can. Just like put it as deep in the ground and try to keep it there.
That's what I do with my feelings. I feel like
Oh,
that's
yeah.
a solid, strong solution
Very
to
healthy
all
model.
to
Yes,
all
absolutely.
overwhelming feelings.
It's how you should garden too. Just like dig a hole as deep in the ground. Just bury it there. Never let it out.
Does the queen have another lover, or is she married?
I don't know. I imagine that maybe she has like a select few like consorts who have political power or courtly power, but that she takes many lovers, and that's an expectation that is put on her, as well as something that she does, as freely as like the monarchal duties can be. Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
So because the card was passed to me and I answered it, should we move on to Banana?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Why do you think the queen trusts you enough to bring you on this journey? Well, we were childhood friends. Even though we're at a rough patch right now, I'm still, though I'm not hired as like a guard, I sort of am like someone who would like protect her and make sure that like, things are okay. And I do have like weaponry on me. So if it comes to a time where I have to defend her, then I'll be there.
Have you served that role like all your life? Is that something you were childhood friends, you took fencing class together, like were you kind of, have you always been there at her side to sort of give her martial protection?
Yeah, I feel like this is more of a side gig. I feel like maybe as like my day job, I like do something else, but this is like after hours, I hang out with her and make sure she's okay.
So interestingly, it sounds like the queen trusts you, but you don't trust the queen.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Okay. Last card before we take a break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is a false rumor about you and the queen back at the royal court. What is it? And how did it start? So many
It's always a false
possibilities.
rumor.
So many possibilities.
Yeah.
I think the queen and I spent a lot of time together, and people think that oh no, the rumor is that we hate each other.
Oh.
The rumor is that there's this like thinly veiled, right? Like she had, she basically put to death someone
lover,
who
yeah.
was like my world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. And so people just assume that I am like exceedingly hate, and the more that because I don't actually, I love the queen, but the more that I like ingratiate myself to her, and I'm like super just adoring and like kind and attentive to her, the more that it just seems like, she's really, really like trying to put on this really false front for someone that she obviously hates. And she didn't want there to be panic about my lover's illness. And so she never said why he was exiled.
Mm.
And so people don't really know why that happened. And so like a lot of people think that she hates me too. And so
Shoot, did Alex freeze?
Oh
Oh,
no.
no.
Okay.
The notice.
Well,
Oh, shoot.
did I
Yeah.
Did I cut out?
you cut.
Just at the cliffhanger moment.
Yes, you're like, and so.
What?
And then cut out.
That's very
Oh
funny.
no.
It's okay.
What had I just said?
Shoot.
It sounded
no
like
one
you
knows
were.
why he was exiled.
Oh yeah, no one knows why he was exiled, so everyone just assumes that the queen and I are just like bitter enemies.
And I think you were kind of alluding to this earlier, but it also sounds like everything you've tried to do to try and dissuade people of that has just looked like it's been contrived. So whenever you're kind to the queen, everyone just, because they already have this bad opinion of you, they just think it's false and that you're trying to fool us. Is that true?
Yes, sorry. Hey, I'm back, I think. Yeah, sorry.
No worries.
It's okay.
Yeah, people assume that I'm just putting it on.
Awesome. Cool. Well, we'll give the internets a rest as we go take a rest. So everybody will be back in a little over 5 minutes, and we'll do the second half of this thing. We'll see you all soon.
Yeah.
are back for part 2 of the Roll20 Indie Showcase of For the Queen. Thanks again to Roll20 for hosting us, and thanks to all of my lovely fellow players for playing this game. This is very exciting. We're going to go back to do another round of answering prompts. So let's do it. Let's do the thing. Am I up? I think I'm up.
Yeah, it's your turn.
Cool. Gotta move all my windows back around. And what did you bring with you that endangers the queen? I have the largest, I don't know how far this journey is going to be. I don't know what kind of plant life we're going to run into. And so I have this cart that is the most unwieldy, bulky, hard to push. Maybe there's an animal leading it, because I think my hands are busy all the time. But it has gotten stuck in every rut and every jam. And it has just a vast supply of petals, so that I can always be sprinkling them behind the queen. And I think that the animal, the beast of burden, that pulls it, is very curious and often sniffing at one of you, looking for treats or scritches or attention. And so kind of getting in the way and kind of veering off course. Do any of you want to be the recipient of donkey or mule attention? Feels like it would further sort of get in the way. I think maybe banana, because you're the sort of martial protector. It would be the most inconvenient if you have this mule that is just always sniffing at you and getting in your sniffing in your hair and what do you think?
Yeah. I feel like this mule keeps nudging his face into my arm for scritches and for me to pet him, but I'm just trying very hard to ignore him and being stern-faced and guarding the queen and trying to do my job.
Yeah.
But occasionally I'd feed him a carrot or something.
And I think once you did it once, now it's just
expected.
His hope that there will be a second carrot is unending, right? There's gonna be days without another carrot. He's just so hopeful. And
it's 2 days. It's been 2 days since the last carrot in human time, but for donkey time it's probably been 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's been forever. He's dying. So and I feel like we've had to pull it out of ruts, and especially as we go into this land that is filled with barren ground that is uneven and rocky, that it's been more and more difficult. But I won't abandon my role, and this is what it takes. So this is what we have.
What happened between you and the queen when the wheel on the cart broke and we were stuck for a day?
Why do you have to bring that up, Tristan? Why do you have to remind me of that?
It feels really relevant, I mean.
She did a thing that drove me batty, that just made me feel so helpless and useless, which was she kept walking, and it meant I couldn't do my job because I was fixing the stupid wheel on the stupid cart, and I couldn't follow her with petals, and so she was just you'll figure it out. But 2, she left me behind. She wouldn't stop. I guess it was important, but it broke my heart that she would sort of deprive me of this super sacred role that I have, and also that she would abandon me. I mean, the assumption was I would catch up, and I did, but it was by, you know, that night I think I showed up to camp like in the middle of the night, exhausted, my dress torn, my hair a mess, my hands all covered in mud, my fingers blistered from having to do this repair. And I don't know if any of you stayed with me, which made me real sad. But I mean, it was the Queen's journey, and it had to continue. So, yeah. Thanks, Tristan.
Tristan stayed with you.
Oh, you did? Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, then genuine thanks. Then
she felt bad, and it was like in this beautiful field of tulips, which gave her something to do for a day. Like
so you stayed but didn't like
tulips.
help fix the cart. You're like,
No, I don't know how to fix carts. That was your moral support.
Nice. Well, it's still something. You know.
How could you ask the artist to try to blister her hands?
I mean, it's fair. It's totally fair. Staying with
These are
me
my tools.
is still better.
That's true.
But yeah, she abandoned me. Oof.
It's making me like real world sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Abandonment is no good. Is it whose turn? Is it my turn?
It's yours.
It's your turn, yeah.
You have a personal connection to the land you are currently traveling through. What makes you want to stay, and why don't you? Well, let's see. I grew up here, and it's springtime, right? And at this time of year, the fields are known for being gorgeously dotted with beautiful lilac, just as far as the eye can see, like mountains of lilac. And the small flying pixie frogs will awaken from their sleep and leap about in the fields. And you know, the birds will return. I don't know. Phoenixes will return from the south and roost upon you know, the cliffside near the ocean. And as we're passing through, my heart is broken remembering my childhood and how young and innocent I was, and how I wish I could just return to a place where I didn't have to struggle to see beauty and everything anymore, and that it was easy. All I had to do was lie on my back in the grass and look up at the sky and imagine. But now things are different. There's so much responsibility and so much weight and so many relationships and so many people depending on me. And things are hard. It's harder to remember to keep beauty in mind.
It sounds like you really would like to stay.
Yeah, I do want to stay. But I can't because I have all this responsibility. I wish I had less responsibility. I'm an immature artist. Tristan is immature. And yeah. So I mean, you know, and she gazes fondly, but a little. I mean, maybe like a little. What's it called? I don't know, like sadly at Banana's character, that like she loves her so much, but you know, she couldn't leave her to this mission and alone with the queen, who obviously cannot be trusted.
Who has secret knowledge and secret possessions.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right. Shoot.
Do you want me to draw it, John?
I'm trying.
Oh, this is a great one.
Oh,
And by great, I mean cruel. I'm sorry.
it is. Um, you are considered beautiful by almost everyone you meet. How does the queen make you question that perception? I think much like in that brash way that children who know who they are like very beloved will sometimes push it a little bit too far. I like one day kind of floating on the feeling of being favored and then like the intoxication and undercurrent of fear of realizing that I was in love with the queen, maybe in a private, I think in a private moment, when we were sitting for a portrait, like me and a couple other people in her retinue kind of attending to her. Maybe Tristan was actually painting it. I don't know. At one point, made a passing comment to the effect of like, very silly, like we make a pretty picture together, something to that effect. And she looked at me and then she just looked back at the portrait painter without saying anything. And there was this moment of just, there was that bid and there was that, you know, like such an easy validation to make. And she knew it and then chose not to. And that gutted me. I think that is something that like honestly keeps me up at night. And it makes me wonder, again, in that like almost childlike way, like, am I actually as charming as I think I am? Do people actually like me? I have this role within the retinue, but am I, you know, everything that I've banked on, is it actually on solid ground, or is it growing in topsoil that could be blown away by, you know, one careless look, right? I think that's the moment that stays with me for a long time.
You just have so many ups and downs with her. Like she raises you so far up, and then just drops you down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Brutal. Brutal.
Is there anything that you would do to like, say, retaliate against this?
You mean like
would your character ever do something like, not like malicious, but sort of in like a, you know,
try to make
get back at you,
like out of resentment or
yeah, like a spiteful.
Absolutely.
Just hinting at it.
I don't think she would mean to, but I do think that I think this character would absolutely kind of make a show that was not sincere of my loyalty not being fully with the queen, that other courtiers might pick up on, that might like carry in its news, you know, like pollen on the wind. Like there might be other people who hear of it, who then, you know, it turns into a rumor about the queen not having full control of her court, things like that, that I know better, right? I know better than to do that. And yet in like little moments, I can't help it, little public moments. I think every now and then I just give in, to the resentment.
Nice.
I think it's your turn, Banana.
Ooh. What do you do for the queen that no one else can do? I'm gonna say that despite us having our issues, she sometimes still calls me into her chambers to chat about things. So this could be like gossip or some dark secrets that she wants to just get off her chest.
Nice. why are you the only one she can share these things with? Because you're her childhood friend? Because
Yeah, I think that because we have this history together, she just feels like she can talk about all this stuff without having to, you know, regurgitate all this like other stuff that she said to like other people, like having to like reiterate herself or like having to like, uh, sorry, I just saw something in the chat. So Banana Chan can speak truly with her because there's no pretense. It's straight shooting. Yeah.
it also sounds like she doesn't need to catch you up with things. Like you have a shorthand, like you know her history,
Yeah.
so you can relate to things without her having to feel like, okay, and this and then this and then this. You know all the history today.
Ooh, I kind of also want to add that we have like the secret code that we talk in, which is like something that we started off as childhood friends. Like we made up like a language kind of when we were kids and just like carried over into adulthood.
Are you doing it genuinely, or are you doing it like as a way to support her, but you don't really care? You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, I don't really care.
I just want you to know how much that hurts. And how long I've been trying to understand, how long I've been trying to figure out this code, and how every time, like, because I'm sure you just speak about it right in front of me as I'm throwing pedals right behind her. And,
yeah.
and
you're probably in the room too.
I'm sure I'm there. I just don't understand what you're saying. But knowing that you don't care because it's plainly obvious on your face that you're not excited about this, it's just so painful.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Sean.
It's okay. It's a good pain. I'm literally asking for it. So.
Alex, I think you're next.
Yeah, it is. What do you usually do for the royal family? Why does that make you an unlikely choice for this journey? I'm a vintner. I make wines, and we'll say spirits and tonics of all kinds. So, like, not necessarily medicinal things, like things that are just these, like, delicious herbal things. And maybe some of them are kind of thought to have like health properties, but it's not really about that. Like, it's just about like, I take care of their vineyards and I oversee everything, and I produce the wine that is not only for the royal family, but also like that comes from the palace. That is like the palatial, like estate wine, that is like incredibly like expensive, like the fanciest possible thing that you would like very proudly, if you were a noble serving other nobles, this is something that you would like bust out to be like, oh, and this is the wine we're serving tonight. It's this massive status symbol. So I'm the person who is in charge of all of that. And I have no idea why she would bring me on this journey. That is my function. It is like, it's a craftsperson role, but also like an administrative role. You know, there's other people kind of really doing the labor of it.
Have you, just by virtue of your excellence and your time doing this, have you moved away from being very hands-on into to much more administrative? Like in the court, are you typically mostly doing administrative tasks these days, mostly doing management?
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm still I like to think of myself as hands-on in the sense that like, you know, I have to taste this and I have to smell this and I have to, you know, come and sort this thing out myself. But in terms of the actual like real backbreaking labor of like conducting something like that, yeah, no, I've definitely taken a step back.
Yeah. So how does it feel now that you're back and doing like the only one? I mean, obviously now you have to. There's not anyone else to tell.
Yeah, I mean now I'm literally pouring her glass, you know, and even though we're on the road and kind of roughing it for the queen is still, you know, we're still all serving her and she eats first and everything. So Yeah, it feels very strange to have things very, very much in my hands again.
Yeah. All right. Can I go? Should I go? Draw the next one. The queen lights a fire in you. What is it? I love this question because I feel like it can mean so many different things. For me, it's the belief that if I do, it's the belief that I have value. The things that I create have value, and you wouldn't think of that as the petal dropper as having value, but in doing so, I sort of chronicle her. I believe this is the fire that she lights in me, is that I believe that because she is sort of a sacred creature, that the petals that drop that are dropped, and I think maybe I'm going to amend this a little bit and say that there's also seeds that are dropped behind her, is that she's like sort of in her path leaves a wake of this growth, and it's my hand that plants them, and it's my hand that drops them into the ground and chooses which seeds to drop, and that I get to leave my own mark, even though it's sort of like, even though it's just like Tristan, it's like your art is creating beautiful images of her, like my art is leaving this sign of her presence in the land that we travel through. That's like her gift to the land, and it's my gift to be like part of that. And I envision that there's this, if you zoom up and you look out, that there's this beautiful beautiful path, this beautiful trail of everywhere she's traveled with all of this growth that's followed her. And to me, like, that's actually something of value that people will still care about for generations. That the queen was here, and look what was left. Look what grows after her.
I feel like, if it's okay with you, my character would pull you aside one day and be like, how do you feel about getting all of your, for her taking the attention away from you, from all of your work?
I think you'd have to, like, it might take a second or two to like get me to understand what you mean. But assuming you like persisted, I'd be like, well, I mean, my work doesn't really, I hold out like these seeds, and I'm like, in my hands, these are just seeds, but she gives them life. So I mean, she allows me to practice my art.
I think my character would just like nod and walk away.
I think as we're talking, the mule is like chewing on your shoulder, you know, the like gentle. Yeah. I don't think I'm easy to turn. Is that the intent? It seems like that's the intent. Yeah.
Very subtle.
Yeah, very subtle. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna go.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Oh, did I? Okay. The queen knows something about you that no one else does. What is it? I think that in our teenage youth, we briefly dated. And like dated as in I was her artistic consort. But like, I don't know. Yeah, very publicly. Like it was like a thing. Like we had this huge romance, and it was ridiculous, and full of teenage romance ridiculousness. And, we were at all of the balls and we did these ridiculous dances and everyone watched us and we were beautiful and it was amazing. And, it didn't work out, obviously.
Really?
But what she knows that no one else does is that I was a very unfaithful lover, and Tristan would often sleep around, right? And that's ultimately what broke up our relationship. Was that Tristan is a hedonist and just couldn't get enough, and she went along with it for a little while. Some of it's part of their ritual, with the spring ritual and everything. But Tristan took it to the next level and just needed to experience everything that was beautiful. She used to say, and it was like they were secret relationships, and only the queen knew about it because she had these spies that would find Tristan out and drag her back, and they would get into these huge fights. And so no one else really knows that, and definitely not Banana's character.
Oh my god. Those courtiers are the equivalent of those poor overnight summer camp counselors who have to hunt through the woods to make sure campers aren't making out. That's what you put them through.
They're Tristan.
It's 3 a.m. and we have to go through the palace to look for Tristan again.
That's the second teacher story I heard like that this week, and the other one was from a school of the deaf, and she has to sit at various aisles to make sure people aren't making out during lunchtime. Anyway, that's what the queen knows that nobody else does.
It's a challenge.
Oh, Tristan. Very good. Should I go?
Yeah.
I almost had it. There we go. Maybe?
Yeah, you got it.
Okay, there we go. I say it for the 3rd time. Oh, shit. Someone in the chat was like, my prompts keep getting me in deeper and deeper shit, basically. And look at this one. When did you know you would never forgive the queen, and why? Oh, I know. There was a moment when the queen was, she thought she was unobserved, by which I mean no one who was observing her was someone who she cared about. She didn't care about their observation. And so it was, even though there were maybe 3 people around her making sure the blossoms were still blooming in her hair and everything, she acted as though she was alone. And she was doing that thing that people do where they dive their hand wrist deep into pots of beans and lentils, but she was doing it with the seeds, all these family seeds that she's collected, the bloodline seeds. And she was doing it, just pot to pot, feeling each one and how they're special. And she gets to my family, and there's one, she brings her hand out and she goes, oh, and there's one that appealed to her for some reason, or she knew something about it that I didn't, and without even thinking, she just popped it into her mouth.
I was just thinking of sunflower seeds.
Yeah, she just ate it, and that entire, not just the seed itself, but the future, right? The potential of my bloodline there just disappeared between her teeth. And that was the moment when I knew on some level, that even if she gives my seeds back, she's already taken something irreplaceable from me, and I will never forgive her for that.
Did you tell her? Did you say anything?
No. I mean, what could I say? I think
you ate my
everyone
family?
Else. I think
Maybe that's
everyone else there being part of her retinue, maybe it was even people who are in the retinue here, I think they all immediately looked at me with like horror. Like they just witnessed something incredibly taboo, but it's not taboo because it's the queen. And there was just this moment of dissonance, like deep, deep dissonance. And I realized no matter what I did or said in that moment would help me. So I did nothing. And maybe that's actually what I don't forgive her for. The lack of an ability, the lack of a choice to say or do anything.
Yeah, it sounds like she dictates the rules of spring, and therefore, like, the rules.
Yeah, she gets to decide what will grow and what won't, right? Like, that seed is never going to be planted. And
there's something about her, that's almost like a deity, right? Like, things grow in her footsteps. They grow, like, maybe even out of her skin. She controls all of these different people's bloodlines. She controls what grows in the land. And that's an almost godlike power, but like a god, that means that sometimes her whims like destroy us and she doesn't even think twice. It was that kind of power imbalance. What do you say to a god who just eats a part of who you are?
I think that's why she always has to be followed by flowers, because it's just this symbol, like even when she is not in the act of creating life, we always need this constant ritual reminder that like everything in our kingdom flows from her.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm beginning to see why she might have taken us along too.
Yeah. So, Gian, how do you feel when Andrea, my character, like, I don't have access to like the sacred pots per se, but I have this giant cart filled with tons of seeds that I am constantly sprinkling in the ground that she is setting to life and then covering them with petals and whatnot.
Yeah.
Like, do you ever have fear that I could screw up my job and accidentally like drop your family into the dirt? Like, is that a threat?
I think the seeds that you have are specifically not like the seeds of blood. Like they're not the bloodlines, but there's always a fear of like, what if the queen was careless? Like this is doubt I shouldn't have, but like, what if the queen messed up the seeds? And it's not really about you. Like, I think on some level, I understand that you are just like impeccably doing your job, but part of your job is to not question what you're doing. But I don't have that kind of stricture. So I'm not worried about you. I'm just worried about, the follies and whim of the queen,
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure if she told me, like, now drop these seeds, that's what I would do.
Yeah. I think in uncharitable moments, I find myself thinking that if she asked you to drop, like, your family's seeds, like, into the ground, you would. Which is a very insulting thing to think about anybody, really.
Yeah. It's terrifying.
Yeah. She wields a lot of power.
Alex, I'm watching you just like filled with delight as you you're like, yes, this is my queen. I made this game.
It's so good.
You all love her, and therefore you love me.
It's like, what could I have never thought of in a million billion years? Good.
I'm gonna grab my power cord really quickly. My computer's at 4%.
Awesome.
I will mute my mic. I learned.
Thank you.
Okay.
There we go. You're muted. Then you want to take the next one?
Yeah. Oh crap. Okay. The queen is not your queen. Why do you serve her anyway? Okay. Well, this makes a lot of sense. I guess I serve her anyway because I am planning to overthrow her. This has been a long time in the making, and because she trusts me so much from childhood until now, I feel like I have a leg up. So once I overthrow her, I'm planning on putting someone else in her position.
So, because she's not your queen, does that mean that you serve someone else in the same court, in the same nation, or were you sent here as a very, very young child from outside and from another place, from maybe where we're going or something like that? Is it internal politics, or is this an external threat?
I think it's internal. So I interpreted this as like I don't actually serve her, and I'm planning, like, there's like the secret rebellion that wants to get rid of her and put like a new queen in the mix. It could be someone in the retinue.
Do I know about?
I was just gonna say, Dave, you must know this. Do you tell your lover, your would-be lover?
I don't know if I would tell Tristan, because seeing how Tristan is like hanging out with the queen a lot lately.
Yeah.
And I might have a secret mission.
Well, Andrea doesn't have a secret mission at all, but you better not tell her, because she would not know what to do with that information.
Andrea really likes the queen. I would probably tell Gion's character, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yes, that is the right choice.
Yeah, that is the right choice. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Is like is Gion's character on board with that? Like, are you working together?
I mean, that's the thing. I wonder if actually there's, in some ways, we're at this present moment where you've just told me and I'm deciding. I think, were the stakes not so high, this would be one of those moments in my like young, kind of like naive life, in some ways naive, in some ways like very much not, that for a less highly ranked person, it would just be a really deep growing experience, right? You have this moment where you're given power. What do you do with it? But for me, I think like I'm stymied. I find myself like not sure. Do I go with the pull of the resentment and the moments when I've doubted the queen, and therefore doubted in some ways everything that she and our nation stands for? Or do I go with like the pull of the promise that she's made to me, a promise she didn't have to make, to give me my bloodline back, to give me a kind of agency over my bloodline that not many people have, the pull and like the seduction of this idea that like maybe I'm doubting myself for no reason, maybe doubting the queen is actually doubting myself, and I am her favorite and she does find me beautiful, and I am this beloved jewel in her court. But it's, you know, which one is real, which reality is real? I don't know. It's very hard. It's a very hard decision. I think like I'm still thinking about it in whatever moment it is that we find ourselves in right now.
Yeah, that totally fits.
Whose turn is it right now? I'm sorry.
It's Alex.
Okay.
I just drew.
Yeah. Ooh, you're on it.
You suspect this journey isn't just about diplomatic negotiations. What else do you believe is going on, and why? Sean, I would rather hear your answer to this question.
Oh. Okay. Yeah.
You can keep passing, but yeah.
You know, you're right. Kira, I would like to hear your answer to this question. Because I think
So,
Tristan's
okay.
perspective on it would be very different than Andrea's.
You suspect this journey isn't just about diplomatic negotiations. What else do you believe is going on and why? I think that so the framework is just that we're going to negotiate, and that's all the framework that we have, right?
Yeah, we're traveling to a distant land, and we're on a dangerous journey to meet with to someone to try to negotiate.
I think that our queen, Tristan believes that our queen is going to do a grand ritual of spring in this land when we get there, and that we'll go there and we'll meet with whoever we're supposed to meet with, and we'll do all the niceties, and then at first sunrise she'll call all of us to awaken, and we will all be a part of this, that we are integral to this ritual in some way. And that's why she chose us to come. That is Tristan's guess about what we're doing. Because we are not fighters.
Not most of us.
We're lovers and creators, and that seems likely.
Yeah. What do you think this ritual will accomplish? Like, what will happen at the fruition of it?
Oh, it's a sabotage. It's like, obviously this ritual will overtake whatever magic is currently ruling their land. So we will literally change the magical makeup of their seasons.
Is the path of growth that's followed her, of all the seeds that have had to follow her, like a ley line type connection back to her seat of power?
Yes. And Tristan believes that this is imbalanced and wrong.
Does anyone have any other follow-up questions, or should I go?
I'm devastated. You just go.
Yeah. Yikes. Okay. Oh man.
You're uncanny how you...
I know. The queen sometimes shows interest in your personal life. How do you respond to that? Why? God, what would really twist the knife in this? I think that there are times that the queen, out of a genuine but also very idle curiosity, will ask me what it is that I want to do, because my role is not vocational the way that Alex's characters is, or or Andrea's, or Tristan, or Banana's, and it's like, as such, I feel a little bit unrooted. Like, even though maybe my family's been with the court for a long time, I could just blow away in the wind at any time. And every now and then the queen will ask me, what is it that would fulfill me the most? And when I think about my future, when I think about what it is I want for myself, she asks me what I want for myself, something that she absolutely doesn't need to concern herself with. And it's gutting. I think when I'm at my best, when I'm most collected, I give her very kind of poetic, lyrical answers that mean nothing, right? Very courtly answers, very charming and beautiful answers, because I know ultimately that she doesn't actually care. But I think that there are times when I do tell her real things, like actual vulnerability. I share real vulnerability. And sure enough, in those moments, she doesn't hold me, and she doesn't respond in the way that, in all frankness, would only fulfill me if it was a peer responding, right? A hug or a gesture or something to tell me that they also understand. But how could she understand? She's almost a god. She has no concerns about the future. All she knows is herself. She's like a constant shifting but hermetic season. And it just kills me. The response is like internal, but it kills me because she keeps asking and I just don't know why. I keep drawing the shittiest cards for my character.
It's so emo. It's like really.
No, it's very good.
I keep getting like, why is the queen so wonderful? And you're
I know.
just, and every time you're just like, let's twist that knife a little more.
Yeah. In all fairness, I am like really leaning in. So there's that too.
Great. I love it.
Yeah. Cool. I'll pass it to you, Banana.
Yeah.
That was great. I loved it.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh no.
She's under attack. Do you defend her?
Oh
No,
my
because I'm
gosh.
attacking her.
That was quick.
Yes.
No. Yes, no. Game over.
Is that like a special card in any way?
Yeah,
or?
no, it's the end. Yeah, that's the game.
Oh,
so,
okay.
So everyone,
Yeah.
so starting with Banana, we'll continue in order. Everyone will answer the question, and then the game's over.
Oh, before we answer the question, can I ask a question?
Sure.
As like a scene setting thing. What does her attack look like? Like,
Oh,
what
my
does her
character?
attack look like?
Yeah.
No, like the queen getting attacked. Like I think Banana should totally start her turn.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. What does this attack look
So-
like? Yeah.
So this is when we're just getting into the distant land, and we're just pulling in, and we're just about to, we're just about to enter into their court when I'm walking very closely behind the queen, and I slip a knife into her back.
Oh my god, it's literally you attacking the queen. Holy shit. I think that's the first time I played this game where that's been how she gets attacked.
She could survive.
Yep,
It's not
I have
very
never
like.
seen that.
I mean, she is a goddess of springtime, right? Like she's a goddess of growth and life. Like maybe such a blow would not, but who knows? We don't know.
Yeah.
The game doesn't answer the question of what happens next. It's just, do you defend her?
I think I definitely leap to defend the queen, almost on instinct or almost as if compelled by something I don't understand, but definitely too late. Definitely not fast enough or with any skill. And I'm just so upset that she brought me. Like she should have brought someone who could protect her.
Yeah.
I actually like I feel angry at her is like my first kind of real emotional reaction.
I don't protect her either. And it's not for any lack of trying, but my form of protection with her was connecting her to her seat of power. And when she stomped off and when the cart was broken and I had to follow after, I didn't lay any seeds in the ground because it was 4 a.m. and I was just trying to find the camp again. And I failed at my role. And so she should have this immense connection to her home. And there's a gap. There's a missing place where she, so I think, I when I sense danger afoot, I sort of pour the sacred anointed water onto the ground that should like start everything growing incredibly and connect her to the root of power, and we just see it like a trail of life grow and then just sort of fizzle out, and then it all sort of fades, like the land that we're in, just faded and lost. So I try, but I don't think I succeed.
It's very sad.
Had a good setup for it.
I think that when Banana's character stabs her, Tristan dives in to catch a satchel of seeds that falls from her grasp and hands it to Banana's character, protecting her from anyone else who may have heard, like, I don't know, like dramatically drawing the
it's like you're holding a hostage
sword or something. Yeah.
This is like, if someone holds these seeds, like no one would dare threaten them.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like, yeah, those were the queen's seeds,
right.
Or something.
I mean, Gianna's the last person to go, so is it too bold for me to say these are Gian's family seeds that we've been talking about this whole time?
I mean, Gian can do what she will with what I mean.
Oh
she
my God.
Tristan, that's fine.
Oh man. You know, there's this moment right after the queen is stabbed. I see it happen, and I don't panic the immediate second after, because I think vines will grow around the blade, you know, and space will be made for it. It'll just be like another shoot or a cutting going into the soil, and there's no panic until the moment that I see, instead of leaves or growth, blood, that I see blood, and I realize that she's going to die, maybe, that it's flesh like us. And that's when the regret of not being able to choose, right? Like there was that moment, like I could have chosen to just go all in and decide to be a part of this choice, or I could have chosen, in some ways actually I could have chosen love, my own love for the queen, her own limited capacity, but still ultimately as much as she could, love for me, the love for the spring, the love for all the things that grow. I could have just gone with that, but I couldn't choose, and now I'm just watching her bleed. And then I see unfold before me Tristan like reach deep into Andrea's cart and pull out this satchel of seeds in a nondescript bag, and then realize that that's my bloodline, that those are all the seeds of my family and my future. And I, like, the panic just blooms, and I throw myself very late at trying, like, in one hand grasping for the seeds, but also at the same time throwing myself at the queen, trying to embrace her, trying to protect her in that last minute. And I don't know if it's a dagger, but I actually imagine that Banana's character chose like a sword, like a long sword or a broadsword, to stab her. And in my panic, I don't realize that in embracing the queen, I'm stabbing myself at the exact moment that I close my hand on my seeds. And I think that's how I imagine that kind of ending. It's so tragic.
And that is for the queen.
That's for the queen.
the saddest version, maybe, that I've seen. At least the saddest in a while.
We started out so happy.
We did. Well, you know, springtime has to.
What a turn.
Yeah, the seasons have to turn, right? We started in spring and we ended in winter, right? That's the place we were in, the barren wetlands, and yay, that was wonderful. Thanks again to Roll20 for hosting us, and thanks everybody in chat for hanging out with us and seeing this game. If you like this, if you saw this game maybe for the first time and you're super excited about it, you can get it in 2 different ways right now. You can get it on Roll20, the game we played, right there, like I just said, and you can get you can pre-order the physical version from the Evil Hat site right there. So if you want it, it can be yours. It's a wonderful, wonderful game. I've played so many games of it, and I keep coming back to it because Alex is amazing and made this amazing game. So
It's a really beautifully designed game. Is it cool, Sean, if I like say very quickly, because I think we have what slated till 9-ish? I'm not sure what our time limit is.
yeah. I mean, I think we're wrapping, but like, yes,
We're
absolutely.
wrapping,
Please,
yeah.
please send all your things.
Like all of Alex, like not to put you on blast or anything, but like all of Alex's designs are very distinct and like immaculately designed. And one of the things that's really struck me, because this is now the 4th or 5th time I played for the Queen, actually. And I remember the first time I played it, Sean and Karen had scribbled all of the cards and prompts onto like index cards. And almost every time I find myself thinking like, wow, I want to play a whole campaign in this world that I've created with these people. It doesn't matter who the players are, doesn't matter what experience they have. And it's an incredible game, not just in its own right, but people right now, I'm getting the feeling, are looking for tools for like world creation as well. And like, what an incredible way to do that, to play a game as a lens into possibly another game or story or something. Like, it's really a beautiful form of collaborative storytelling that I don't see very often, and I'm really hyped to buy a physical copy and to play it with like everyone I know. You said you played it with your dad. I'm going to play it with my dad. No, I'm not going to play it with my dad, but like I'll find someone who's sort of the equivalent and play it with them. I'm so excited to just like hype this game. It's really, really good.
Yeah, I could not agree more.
Thank you, Gian. That's so kind. Everyone should definitely go and check out Gion's works. They are just as beautiful and lush and tragic as her gameplay today that you witnessed.
This really was like the saddest session of this game I've ever played.
Yeah, it really was. There's lots of times when people have mixed feelings about the Queen, but not often so tragic.
Yeah.
I love tragic romance. It was perfect.
Yeah,
That's true.
Maybe we were the perfect tragic romance group if you were to find one.
Star-crossed with like 5 people.
It's this terrible apartment complex. In the
yeah. All these towers growing together like vines.
So good.
Thank you all so much for coming on the stream and playing the game. That's so cool. What a nice way to celebrate our release day. Yay.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Thank you for making this game.
Yeah. Was
And thank you to everyone who watched and hung out with us and checked it out.
Yeah. It's good times.
Yeah, no, this was an incredible session. Thank you so much for everyone for showing up. Yeah, I'm so glad I could do this.
Yeah. Grant Rellis, I like your hashtag. Thank you, Alex. Hashtag thank you, Alex. Good call.
Yay!
All right. Cool. Does anyone else have any other shout outs you want to make before we close out the stream? Awesome. Well, thank you everybody again. If you want to see more of For the Queen, follow Alex on Twitter. She'll be talking about it. Follow Evil Hat. We'll be talking about it there. And see you all later. Bye.